Welcome to our Saturday matinee of high school girls basketball. It is a day to reflect on history. The 1981 and 1991 state tournament teams are distinguished guests at Harding High School in St. Paul, where the Knights, building off of a 4-win campaign last year, looking to add to it as they take on the St. Paul Academy Spartans. SPA with a young group, they sit at 3-2, Harding at 5-3. These two teams probably won't contend for a state tournament, at least this year. They have some building to do, but when you consider the position Harding was in just a couple of years ago, they went through several seasons where they couldn't even finish an entire campaign. Last year, they won 4 games, and several of the JV players would double up, so their lone senior of the group could get a chance to play out a full season. David Iverson now in his second year, looking at this game and this team as a multi-year building project, where hopefully it will culminate in a conference title and maybe some section titles down the road.
8th grader, number 24, Kyla!
St. Paul Academy, this is their last game before the holiday break. They'll resume play against Blake. They are in the IMAC, but they don't play some of the higher level teams because of where they're at. Again, they're young, trying to build their way forward.
Freshman, number 25,
Some players to watch: Amaya Obi-Walker, the 8th grader for St. Paul Academy, and Jayda Brown, a 6-foot 7th grader, I should say. Here are the starters for SPA. It's Davy Nelson, Eliana Moser, Brooke Spilseth, Amaya Obi-Walker, and Jayda Brown. Harding will start: Lala Ray, Nessa Gullens, Kyla Ranson, Smiley Gomez, and Reese Ards. On the Harding side, Ranson, Gullens, and Gomez, the players to watch. They all have 10 points or more. Ranson and Gullens averaging just over 12.5. But Harding likes to pride themselves on defense. They average about 25 steals a game. And like we said, it's going to be a while before they can make a serious charge. Harding in Section 3-3A, that's where Cretin-Durham Hall is. And SPA in 4-2A, Minnehaha Academy should be the favorite out of that section. We've got a little hot potato going on. Amaya Obi-Walker, a little more real estate. She would have had the steal. But there are a few ties to the school. Amaya Obi-Walker, the daughter of Marcel Walker, who was a year ahead of me at Harding High School, so it's a homecoming for me too. And Lala Ray, the 7th grade point guard, gets the scoop shot to fall to get us started. Obi-Walker, breaking ankles, knocks down the 3. Obi-Walker with a little posterization. Here's Ray, through traffic, into the lane, up and in. Lala Ray, turning this gym into La La Land. I'm sure she's heard that more than once, and I'll show myself out. Lala Ray, the, as I understand it, officially stepdaughter of assistant coach Tyzacia Holt, but as Mr. Feeney said all those years ago, you don't have to be blood to be family. Here is Jayda Brown, the 6-foot 7th grader, goes baseline, can't get it to fall. Gullens with the rebound. You may have seen some of the Harding players in our triple threat coverage, as drawing the foul and shooting free throws will be Kyla Ranson. Ranson averaging 12.8 points per game this season. The free throw shooting leaves a little more to be desired for now, but like we said, Harding has a super young squad. As Ranson gets the front end to drop. Kyla Ranson, an 8th grader. Nessa Gullens, 8th grader. Reese Ards, 7th grader. Lala Ray, 7th grader. Smiley Gomez, she's the old sage of the group as a freshman. Quick timeout with 16:39 left as Ranson knocks down the freebies. Harding up 6-3, and like we said, They already have surpassed last year's win total. They won just a total of 4 games. And from here on out, every win notches them one step higher up. We had a chance to speak with some of the members of the 1991 state tournament team. We will show those interviews at halftime of this game. They include 1991 Miss Basketball Shannon Lobline. Other members of that team, Kara Pearson, Heather Catola, Rolanda McKinley, and several others who wore the maroon and gold at this gym. Back to action, steal. And a holy roller of sorts, Lala Ray. A quick 6. Harding bringing more pressure. Obi-Walker gets past it. Through one defender, through a second. Gomez throws up the wall. Obi-Walker backs away. Obi-Walker, you might recognize her name from AAU, plays on her grade levels Metro Stars team. Tara Starks and Crystal Taylor, the coaches of that group. A lot of young guns to keep an eye on. Here's Brown. Hooks up with Moser. Feeds it inside. Nelson sent away. In the strip down memory lane. And since the alumni are here, you may have noticed this by now, but it is reflecting in our graphics as well. Our broadcast coverage, Nessa Gullens with the steal and the run out. Reflecting well on Harding's attention to defense. Gomez, steal, the reverse, won't fall. David Iverson, I talked to him ahead of time, he wasn't kidding. Brown at the key, doesn't have a lane. Obi-Walker, the deep 3. Offline, but it had the range. A pair of St. Paul schools, one private, one public. Wide open 3, won't go down for Ranson. Gomez, the shovel, Ranson. Can't get the post up. Obi-Walker gets bumped from behind, she'll draw the foul. 15:08 left in the first half. 10-3, Harding over St. Paul Academy. Obi-Walker finds Brown, but Harding swarming St. Paul Academy. They get another steal and another Plinko bounce for Lala Ray. She keeps this up. She might want to consider playing the actual Plinko. I think she can make some serious money. Obi-Walker, what a run! Amaya Obi-Walker. This is my first time seeing her in action, but she's got some handles. I'm gonna need a towel. It's getting hot with her ball handling skills. And that is a 17-foot bank for Kyla Ranson, her first field goal. That makes it 14-5. Obi-Walker looking for a passing outlet, find one in Nisha Johnson. Here's Brown through traffic. Had the layup, but needed a little more English. Harding again. They want to floor it. And Gullens will shoot 2. Had a chance to partake in the luncheon that was provided to the alumni and the players. And a lot of them still have fond memories of the 91 state tournament run. Of course, Lobline and Pearson were a part of 3 state tournament appearances, 88, 89, and 91. Lost to Burnsville in overtime in 91. Burnsville, of course, they were a powerhouse. They knocked off Harding in 91 and then beat a fellow Miss Basketball winner, Stacy Fields, in Mounds View in 92. But the inner ring suburbs, Burnsville, Mounds View, Fridley, they were the contenders back then. Things have changed since. But that's part of the game, the evolution. And Harding, like we said, they had some glory years. They would love to recapture it. Turnaround shot for Johnson doesn't go down at 16-5. Obi-Walker. Johnson and Obi-Walker team up with a stop on Ranson. Here's Obi-Walker using her speed. She'll shoot 2. Obi-Walker, based on the data we have, averaging 15.5 points, 7.3 rebounds per game. Jayda Brown leads the team in rebounds. And her dad played his share of basketball games at this very gym. It looked a little different back then. The floor was different. And even for me, walking into this building for the first time in 15 plus years, it's the same building, but it feels quite different as well. It is a little strange coming back to your alma mater. Here's a straightaway 3. That's a little long. Ards with the board. Sent away by Brown. Johnson couldn't find an outlet. Gomez underneath. Lala Ray, not exactly lengthy in terms of height, but that was a tall run. A tall putback, I should say. And speaking of length, there's the 6-foot Jayda Brown. I'm sure she feels like 7 feet at times. I remember covering a St. Paul Academy game years ago as Brown gets on the board. 7th graders, nothing new to the Spartans, but you don't see too many at 6 feet. But I always say height is just a number, and I'm sure Jayda Brown, over time, will come to embrace it. She gets the freebies, 18-9. As St. Paul Academy trying to bounce back after that early blitzkrieg from the Knights of Harding. Gullens pulls up. Off the rim. Rebound Spilseth. Gets it to Brown. I think it's clear Brown and Obi-Walker are the 2 names to keep an eye on for St. Paul Academy. That's going to be a walk, as Davy Nelson was caught out of position. Here's Ray, already 10 points. Gullens, a little off balance on the run to the rim. And a dead ball rebound to St. Paul Academy. Lily Parr will check in. St. Paul Academy, up until this year, led by Willie Taylor, who was an assistant coach on the 91 state tournament team, then went to Mounds View the following year. And then coached at St. Paul Central, won a couple state titles back at Central. Brown fouled on the jump shot, and that's a tough foul to take if you're Ranson. So Brown to shoot 2 more. Natalie James, in her first year as head coach at St. Paul Academy, played her varsity ball at Highland Park, then at MCTC. And has quite a few ties to St. Paul basketball as well. One of her college teammates, Lavera Jeffrey, a fellow Highland Park graduate. Georgie Jones and Kai Allums were there for a time. Rebound. Off balance, Obi-Walker comes up with it. Maintains the dribble. Launches the 3. Long. 18-10. Gomez calling for it, fakes the 3. Inside to Ranson. Can't get it to fall. Dead ball rebound to the Knights. No, the Spartans. No, it is the Knights. This is why I'm up here not wearing the officiating uniform. Gomez. Touch shot falls, her first bucket of the game. I had a chance to connect with Smiley last year at the Triple Threat event. She has ambitions of a career in the STEM, or now I should say STEAM fields, not unlike a De La Salle graduate who I got to highlight a year ago, Jordan Johnson. And I had a chance to talk to her family and her coach, David Iverson. She is a tech whiz. She was thinking about going to another school, but decided to stick it out at Harding. Here's Brown in the lane, halfway down, but it spits back out. Ards with the board. Ooh, that was a walk. That was a walk. Ards waited one step too long for the outlet. Brown broke open. That's a couple of times where she's had a good look, only to be sent back out. 3 on the way, bullseye. That could be a significant 5-point swing. Ray with 13. The 7th grader having a ball right now. Ards with the rebound. Gomez. Finds a teammate in Gullens. Short, Ray backs off. Ards open, banks it in. All 5 starters have scored for the Knights as they lead 25-10. A 7-0 run for the Knights. We talked about some of the lean years Harding girls basketball has faced. They had a couple of winless campaigns, if memory serves, so trying to resurrect what was may take some doing. But again, they already have 5 wins, and who they've come against, like we said, they may not jump out at you compared to the resumes of Providence Academy, Benilde St. Margaret, some of the top-tier contenders, even Cretin-Derham Hall, who edged out a win over De La Salle last night. One example that comes to mind against Two Rivers, they dropped that one by over 50. But when you have a young group, every coach will tell you this, it takes time. Especially when you have a starting unit that has a 7th grader, 2 of them, 2 7th graders, 2 8th graders. They'll need some time and experience to build up the resume. That's not to say they can't do big things along the way. But they'll need a little more experience. They certainly have shown some promise. Again, they played Fridley close. Fridley taking a step back this year after some key seniors graduated. Harding can't get the fast break bucket to go. Here's Obi-Walker. She'll back off and run a set. Was looking for Brown. Gullens on top of her. She'll snatch it away. And St. Paul Academy in a similar spot. So depending on what happens and who stays, who comes in, these are 2 teams who I think we're going to hear more about in the seasons to come. Gomez's 3 offline. Another battle for the board. Jump ball. Harding with the arrow. Another sign of my time since my high school days. checking out all of the Hall of Fame honorees. Lala Ray. She might be poised for a Hall of Fame career here at Harding. Of course, as a 7th grader, it's way too early to make any kind of prognostication, but 15 points. Here's Obi-Walker, the step through. Brown is there. Oh, Brown, she's let a few buckets go uncashed. Ray, meanwhile, has 15 points coming in, and this is based on the data we have, averaging 9 a game. The reverse won't go down for Gomez. Johnson, and that's one of those situations. I saw this in the North St. Paul Tartan game that I covered earlier this month. Corner 3, off the rim. Situational awareness. When you get the rebound, Obi-Walker getting hounded and surrounded. Gomez with the takeaway. Hooks up with Gullens for 2 more. Gullens with 6. 29-10, 11-0 run for the Knights. Obi-Walker throws it right into the hands of Gomez. That was a bunny jump shot. Another timeout. 31-10, 8:48 left in the first half. And Harding playing quite well. But I have not seen a shot like that since Monica Wright from the Lynx, who played for the Lynx, then played for a couple of other teams. Layups were not her strong suit. I remember one game when she led a fast break, pulled up with a wide open bucket and missed. I think it ended up on SportsCenter's Not Top 10. Thankfully for Smiley Gomez, she did not incur the same fate. But I could see, not right now, I could see down the road, in practice, Ty Holt, of course, a basketball veteran, played at Humboldt and St. Catherine. All-time leading scorer at Humboldt and number 2 in points now at St. Catherine, still number 1 in rebounds, but they knew how to finish layups. Ty and I'm guessing David Iverson as well. So I'm sure they'll talk to Smiley about that. Jump ball, Spartans with the arrow this time, but Harding continues this relentless defensive assault. And to continue that story on Ty Holt, I'll get to that in a moment. Because Harding with another knock, another tie up, I think. Yes, Harding with the arrow. Ty Holt knows a thing or two about making history for a school that lacked in historic moments. There wasn't much to speak of at Humboldt before she and the Hicks sisters left their mark. And even though Tyzacia didn't make a state tournament, she was a fun player to watch at Humboldt. Ray, 3 is long. Rebound Spartans. Once again, Harding all over it. They know St. Paul Academy playing a little apprehensively. Gullens again. Goes back door to Ray. Another pileup. It will be a dead ball rebound to St. Paul Academy. Harding sending out one of the old veterans, Ruth Williamu, the junior. Free throws coming for Brooks Spilseth. And likewise, St. Paul Academy doesn't have a ton of seniors either. Something else with these two programs, St. Paul Central's going through this as well after Willie Taylor left and several of their state tournament athletes graduated. The biggest challenge, as I'm looking at old photos in a scrapbook, well, the gym does look a little different. The biggest challenge when you're on a program trying to build its way forward, getting your players to buy in, getting them to embrace the process and not necessarily the outcome. Harding was in that spot a year ago. Here's Ray. Dribble drive and the finish. Lala Ray, 17 points. Sure, this isn't coming against a Cretan-Durham Hall or a team of that caliber, but still. Malia Wright will want that pass back. Brown to Obi-Walker. Can the Spartans break that press? Pass is a little off. Here comes Obi-Walker. Drew the blocking foul along the baseline. That's hard to tell if that was the last foul to give or not, because the one scoreboard that reads it is obscured from my vantage point. I think that is their last to give. Brown, fade away. Rebound Ranson. Obi-Walker says enough of this and gives Harding a taste of their own playbook. And then the Spartans cough it up again. But another sign of how much time has passed. My graduating class had our 20-year reunion, of course, but several members of the Hall of Fame who are enshrined in the cafeteria are classmates of mine. Or we attended high school around the same time. Vanessa Ozamaro, Nuala Watson. Moral of the story, I'm getting old. I'm guessing the 81 and 91 graduates and alumni who are here would tell me, join the club. Lala Ray, the runner short. Obi-Walker with the rebound. Harding applying that press again. Deflected. Nelson having some trouble. She is getting swarmed. Finds Spilseth open. Ball knocked away again. And we'll get another substitution. Moser will check back in. Nelson. Jump ball, Spartans with the arrow. Another connection, even though we attended different high schools. Brooke LaFleur, the assistant, one of them at Harding. As Harding will take a timeout. She and I were both featured in the Girlhood exhibit last year that had the women's basketball section. Abe, our camera guy, had a chance to check it out. Brooke LaFleur, Native American lineage, put together a team to bring awareness for missing and murdered Indigenous women, MMIW. It's a cause that she promotes for the Gus Smacker tournament. And being fellow St. Paul graduates, St. Paul natives, we reminisced about all the athletes we saw come through these schools, whether or not they played for our teams. Angel Robinson, Ebony Black. Here's a three. Davy Nelson gives the Spartans a much-needed lift with 6.5 to go in the first. 33-14. Let's see if that jump starts a run for the Spartans. Ranson has other ideas. Slicing and dicing her way through the lane. Obi-Walker finds Brown. Harding pressing again. Traveling call. Brown nowhere to go. Even some of the cheerleaders from the 91 era came out to support, and one of them said she chose girls basketball because she wanted to be part of something special. Gomez too strong. Rebound Ranson. Can't get the putback. Loose ball once again. It bounces around. Kick ball. SPA will get possession. And when I spoke with a couple of the alumni, got to watch out with those passes. If you telegraph them, Harding will turn it into 2 on the other end. Smiley Gomez, all right, she does know how to shoot layups. I'm sure she did. This is just my first time seeing her in competitive action. Double dribble after a couple acts of thievery. That rap sheet's going to be a super long one by the end of this game. In a good way. Steals are encouraged in this sport. They're not just encouraged, they're celebrated. That's the good kind of stealing, the good kind of trouble. Gomez wants the 3. Off the rim. Rebound right. Another long ball. Swish. Guess who? Lala Ray, 19 points. I don't know what her season high is, but she could smash it. Right. The steal and lost the handle. Ray again. Have a day, Lala. Have a week. Might as well take the whole month while you're at it. 21 for Lala Ray. And again, maybe this isn't as noticeable compared to a opponent like a Cretin-Durham Hall or Two Rivers, but every story, every saga has a beginning. As we all learned from Star Wars Episode 1. You can skip the part about trade negotiations and midi-chlorians. Okay, I digress. And Jar Jar. We don't talk about Jar Jar. Foul on the Knights, and I believe that will send the Spartans to the line. Yes. Jayda Brown does not have a field goal yet. But as we were saying a moment ago, her saga is just beginning. I'm sure she's already logged some minutes in AAU club ball like Obi-Walker has, and it shows. Obi-Walker throws it right into another Harding player, and yeah, that's a travel. Nessa Gullens, I think, got a little indecisive at the last moment. Tried to draw the blocking foul, backed off from the runner, and that cost her. But given how this game is going, it's a first world problem. Brown looking, what? I don't know if I would have gone for that right away. That turnaround shot fading away, never easy to make. But again, this is all part of the learning process. Obi-Walker diving for it, but fell on the line before she could get it away. Ray to Gullens, 3 long, rebound, Brown. Three from the wing. Nelson can't knock it down. Who touched it last? St. Paul Academy. Another thought occurred to me. I've covered a few games through SPNN, and I shot a couple when I was part of the video production program here, but I think I remember sitting somewhere in this spot for Pep Fests. The sophomores are sitting where we're stationed, course, when we came in, smartphones hadn't been invented yet. Social media was just forming. MySpace was all the rage. And that young woman, all the rage for the Knights. But she can't get the runner to drop, didn't touch rim, so the shot clock does not reset. Gomez says, I'll take care of it. Gomez with 8. I didn't know any better. I'd say Gomez is having herself a game, at least leading the defensive charge. What will they call here? It will be Harding ball, I believe. SPA, they also are short a few players. They didn't have enough to field a full JV team. So they had a scrimmage. Here's Gullens, disrupted on the way up. And no putback for Ranson. But a strong half for the Knights. Last touch by Harding as the pass went every which way. And the gathering of alumni, David Iverson organizing it, his first year doing so. He's hoping to feature more teams down the road to inspire his crop of young guns. There's Nyjah Johnson with the putback. As St. Paul Academy tries to fend off and shrug off that defensive stoicism from the Knights. Gomez, pull up, swish. Gomez with 10. Aaron pass. Gullens, spin move, too strong. Gullens, one of those players. Jump ball, Spartans with the arrow. Gullens, one of those players. And again, she and Ranson, Ards, Ray, they're all youthful, 7th and 8th graders. But Gullens, to me, I'd like to see her use a little more finesse on some of those runner short-range looks. I think the floodgates would open, and St. Paul Academy just did not look settled at all. Brown a little frustrated, and I can understand that. It's easy to say this when I'm up here, but for Brown, I'd say in a situation like that, take a step back, give yourself a moment, make sure you get that pass in cleanly. Ray with the step through, not enough. Rebound, put back for Ranson, and she's got 8. 47-16. There's another example. Lily Parr threw up an errant shot. I don't think she had to do that right away. Shot clock wasn't winding down. An old saying, don't panic. I think that would apply for SPA. Ray will go to the free throw line. And like we said, they're a young team, and much like Harding, they're trying to establish an identity. SPA, not necessarily known for basketball, at least not in recent years. But you look at where each team, where each player can grow. And for those who are watching this for the first time, as Ray knocks down the front end, I do the same thing with Madden Greenway, Tori Orline, Addie Mack, because they all are determined to grow, to evolve, to become more than who they are. Ray with a steal after splitting at the line, blocked by Brown, and that's another example. It might be little in scope, but it could pay off later on. Gomez, the runner. Long, Brown with another board, 40 seconds. Once again, pressured into another sloppy pass. Runner drops in for Ranson. She's got 10. 50-16. And someone's got to get the ball. Clock doesn't stop at the high school level. But St. Paul Academy, that's going to be a walk, and Harding will have 10.71 seconds. That is one unique facet about this gym. The scoreboard's been the same since I covered games here. They have the Spectrum board, and when it stops in hundredths of a second. 3 on the way for Ranson. Short. And a foul is called. If it's on Harding, no, it's on SPA. They had a couple fouls to give. No, it is on Harding. So they'll shoot free throws here, but it's a first half I'm guessing they would want to put behind them. Brown, no field goals yet. And the reason I'm discussing what I'm seeing and how these players can grow, can get better, whenever a mistake happens, it's never fun, but it's fixable. A lot of these things that I'm seeing in this first half are fixable. But Harding fixed themselves up a 50-18 advantage as we go into halftime on this gathering of distinguished alumni. Like we said, we had a chance to connect with some of the members of the 91 team. We'll take you to those interviews and come back for the second half. This is high school girls basketball. Harding leads St. Paul Academy 50-18.
Women's basketball has been around a long time, and we've had so many opportunities, and now we're just continuing to get more.
Susan Shudley makes a great move. Pass to Linda Shudley.
It comes back to just feeling like you're part of a sorority of women. It's really fun to see. There's a lot of pride.
The 90s, late 90s, we was pumping out great women's basketball players. And still to this day, we're still there.
How exciting is it to reconnect with all your old teammates and come back here and maybe relive some memories?
It's a blessing. I have been connected with a lot of them in the past, so it's good for us to connect over basketball. So that's a good thing.
When did you start playing?
I started playing basketball in 1990.
So as a freshman?
Nope.
Or
as eighth grader.
Eighth grade, okay. So you got to ride the tail end of the Lobline and Kara Pearson years.
Well, I have to say, I met Kara Pearson and Shannon Lobline when I was in 7th grade. I ran track for Harding as a 7th grader. And that's when Coach Willie Taylor seen my skills as a runner. He was like, this girl is very athletic. And he introduced me to Shannon and Kara. And he said, have you thought about playing basketball? And I said, not really, I'm a little awkward. And he said, but you got everything that it takes to become good. And so all summer, I practiced my 7th grade summer, going into 8th grade, and all of 8th grade, and I was able to become pretty good, enough to be a freshman and on varsity. I skipped freshman, skipped JV, and went straight to varsity.
Not bad for an awkward woman.
not bad at all.
I know Willie Taylor very well. I covered a lot of his teams at St. Paul Central. So when you mentioned him, I'm like, that's right, he was here. And then he was at Mounds View, so he's got some connections too. So what was it like coming in, because it's now you see 7th graders on varsity more regularly, but back then, as I understand it was hard for even freshmen. Shannon told me last year she didn't make varsity right away, so to jump on varsity as a freshman when Shannon and Kara had established Harding as a contender, what do you remember from that experience?
What I remember is the love, the courtesy, the mentorship that Shannon and Kara gave me throughout those summer years and that 8th grade year. And so they taught me a lot of the things that I learned in basketball. And with hard work and dedication, they helped me fine-tune those things so it could work on the basketball court. And the hard work and the dedication is what opened up a spot for me on the varsity team.
So I'm just sitting on the bleachers because I need space, but what do you remember? What were Shannon and Kara like as players? Because I know they both went to the U of M. Shannon was Miss Basketball in '91, and all of you, of course, played a part in that state tournament run, but what was it like having them as teammates and getting to see their talents and their greatness? How did that rub off on you?
Like I said, their mentorship, some of the things that they taught me back then, I still use today. They taught me that if you want something, you put your passion into it, you throw it 100% into that game, into whatever it is that you want to succeed in. And all you have to do is try. If you don't try, you'll never know if you could succeed. And as we've seen with Shannon, Miss Basketball. Kara was one of the runner-ups at that time as well, but they both showed me what passion looked like, what dedication looked like, what commitment and teamwork looked like.
And what were some of your favorite moments from your time as a basketball player? You got to be there for the '91 tournament run, and even if you didn't get back to state, you still played varsity, so you had a part in this program's history. So what are some of your favorite moments or memories here?
One of my favorite moments, of course, it was the state basketball tournament, but it was the fact that before that was working to get there. And when you are able to see the fruits of your labor pay off, it's like it's all worth it. Being able to come to practice and even go and play, it was a 24/7 thing. You work basketball, you drink basketball, you sleep basketball, you dream basketball, you watch basketball. That's everything that we did, and it was great. And I shared earlier with the group, being that freshman that was in the running when they were selecting who they were gonna put on that. I think we had a 14-man roster, and there was they had the 12 that they wanted already, but there were 2 freshmen that they made 13th and 14th, and I was one of those 2 freshmen. And that was a sense of accomplishment to me, and it was beautiful. But my highlight with basketball is being able to pour those very same morals into my sons, into teaching them how to be dedicated and committed to something so they could succeed.
On that subject, it kind of leads into another question I wanted to ask you. I don't know how much you follow the sport these days, but what would you say are some differences and similarities compared to when you played versus what you see? Because you hear a lot about the top name athletes, Madden Greenway, Tori Orline, and Addie Mack, but when I had a chance to watch some of the older games, I'd say, there are some things that are different, but there are some things that are the same. So from your point of view, what's changed about the sport, and where do you think it goes from here?
Being a former coach as well, a lot of things that I see different was the pressure and the expectations that the coaches were able to put on us, it's unacceptable these days. It's frowned upon, but it's a desire and a passion from within. It has to be a internal motivation to help these athletes succeed. We can just encourage them, but if their internal motivation is not there, they're not going to have the results that we had. And so that's what I'm seeing a lot now, is you put pressure on a student. I'm going to tell my mom. And then you have the parents calling, how dare you make those kids run like that in practice? Well, conditioning is a big part of it, you know. But I think it is the fact that the expectations, we can't hold them to the high expectations that we were held to.
And just looking back, what kind of legacy do you feel you left at Harding, and what do you hope this next generation that's trying to build their way back up, what do you hope for the group of athletes that you're going to be seeing on the floor here a little later today?
I think I left a stronger legacy in the sport of track than I did basketball, because track was an individual sport, and the year that I graduated, I was the only Harding female that went to state and was able to come back with a medal. So I think that was something that I could show the younger people that here I am. If I can do it, you can do it too. And my commitment to wanting to give back to the young people, that which the coaches and the other players gave to me to succeed.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Let's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Coming back here, reconnecting with all of your teammates, and how exciting, how thrilling is it to come back here? You were just sitting. I felt the same way. It's a little weird coming back to the high school, but what was it like for you reconnecting with?
It is. It's been, when we got the email from Mrs. Ruber, it was just an awesome opportunity to come back. Haven't been back in the high school many years. Lots of great memories here. Lots of great things going on, and when it worked, we were just excited for the opportunity. So just excited to be here and be a part of these, watch the girls play today and see some old teammates and our coaches, and it's awesome.
So what do you remember from your time playing at Harding? Because you got to take part in a couple of those state tournament runs. And
yes.
Shannon, last year I talked with her for the Girl exhibit. She told me a few things, but what do you remember from the early 90s when Harding was a force?
What I remember from the 90s in Harding is we had the best group of women athletes. And, girls sports were still up and coming. They were still a newer thing. And to see where they've gone this far, my daughters both played sports through high school. And so that group we had was just one of a kind. I mean, really, the athleticism, the teamwork, the hard work, just everything from students. We were good, we were just overall, just what we brought to the school and what we brought to our teams and our coaches, and just our life lessons that we learned too. It was very exciting. It was hard to lose in overtime in the state championship game by 5 to Burnsville. We only lost twice that year. That was very hard to swallow. I remember being at the old Met Center, which is no longer there in Bloomington. And I remember sitting in that locker room to this day, and lots of tears, lots of tears. We're very proud to have a silver medal. I still have it. Not many people can say that. And I think just overall, just the females that came before us and the women that paved the way, and being able to do that was really exciting. So.
Well, it was the following year Burnsville got Mounds View too, so Stacy Fields knows your pain, but Yeah, and I get it too, especially when you feel like you had a chance to win it too. I think it stings a little more, but over time, I think you and other athletes realize people don't remember the records per se. They remember the memories.
Right, they do.
But yeah, what were some other memories? Because you talked about the Med Center, and I was way too young, but I heard all sorts of stories about it. But some other memories, and just what was it like here, and just being a part of a burgeoning piece of history with women's basketball?
It was awesome. It was awesome. There were other, we had a great women's soccer team, our volleyball team I was a part of. Basketball was just, again, it was just really special to be part of that group. The coaches, Shannon Lobline was amazing. She was a superstar. To watch her kind of develop and grow and become Miss Basketball that year, and what she did at, going the Gophers along with Kara Pearson. The fact to say that I played with two of the greatest in the game back in the 90s is pretty awesome. And so, it was just all about teamwork. It was fun. We put our time in. We had fun. It was just the pep rallies in this gym. I'll never forget them. Just the excitement, and I think it was fun that the women's teams were bringing that to Harding back then, and it was a great time.
What do you think you and your team did to help put a spotlight on the sport? Because as you talked about, the attention, the investment is exponentially higher now, and even the mainstream audience is starting to pick up on that. The Caitlin Clark effect and
love to see it.
But every story has that beginning chapter, and maybe you didn't get Caitlin Clark levels of exposure, but to help put a spotlight, to play a part in letting everyone out there know women could play ball. What does that mean for you?
It was great. I remember when my dad wanted my sister and I to sign up and play basketball and softball and volleyball, and we weren't really, it wasn't as big a thing. My mom didn't have women's sports, so when you think about in 1971, she graduated from Johnson, an East Sider. She didn't have that opportunity. So the fact that we could come here and not only participate and learn to be aggressive and learn to have some other skills and life lessons that you learn from being a part of a team, and it's not all about you, and doing things for others and whatever comes along with it. But I think what we've seen them do now, it's just the fact that we were able to do it. I think when you look back to like my mom, my aunts, they didn't have that opportunity, and both my girls went to North St. Paul High School and played multiple sports, and I still have a daughter playing college softball. So when you think about Caitlin Clark and where she's taken basketball or any of those other, Nebraska volleyball game against Texas A&M was the most watched it's been ever. So when you get to see that and you were a part of some of those, before they really took off, it's really fun to think back. So.
Well, I know you talked about the memories of playing Burnsville and state. Of course, you did a lot of winning too. So just any other memories from games that come to mind? It doesn't have to be super specific, but just what you remember from what were the games like? Because the game was played a little differently than it is now, with a bigger emphasis on three-point shooting, etc. But what do you remember just playing in those games, having Shannon and Kara and Rolanda, who was called Nolanda for a time?
Yeah, and Lily Brown and Anna Marie Larson and Tish Dillard, and just being with them. I think the physicality that we played in and a part of, and just being able to do that. I think we crushed everybody. There weren't many people that challenged us. We did lose to Mounds View. I just looked it up. I don't remember that, but we only had 2 losses that year. But I think even from 9th grade basketball, with Mr. Kimmel, we only had 5 on our team. So if we couldn't fall out. We couldn't. So we played every minute, and I think just the excitement of it all and making that run, and people were talking about us. We're an East Side school and St. Paul City School, and having somebody talk about us was awesome. We were well known. Yeah.
And so what do you enjoy most about your time? I don't know if you played in college or not.
Yes.
But, where did you play?
I played volleyball at UW Stout.
Okay.
Yep, so I played volleyball all the way through college.
All right. Well, I'm learning a lot about you today. Well, no, and it's like, yeah, that's because a lot of folks were multi-sport athletes.
We were.
Rolanda was one. That's how it was her track prowess that got the attention of Whitney Taylor, who, anyway. What do you enjoy most about your time as a Harding Knight and being an athlete and getting to play a part in?
I just look back and I think if I didn't have sports, I don't know what I would have done. Sports was just my world, and to this day, having a chance to play at UW Stout in volleyball and had great experience there. Some of my best friends. No matter what you do, even my girls, I mean, our best friends are people that we've met along the way with sports, and it brings more of a, not just what you're out there doing, but it's that community you belong to now forever, and it's those relationships, and you can't take that away. And I don't know what I would have done. I think it sets you up for success later in life. You learn how to maybe manage conflict. You learn how to take disappointment. You might not get your way all the time, but it also builds character and strength. So I've been very lucky and very blessed to play sports my whole entire life. So.
Well, getting to see your own kids play sports, and you probably have followed games as well. What would you say is different? What's different and what's the same when it comes to basketball? Like when you look at what you see now compared to what the sport was like when you were playing?
It's a lot. It's just they're stronger, quicker, they're tougher. Yeah, we were tough too, but just to see how the women have been able to, the female athletes, just the strength and their ability and the determination, and we had that too, but I just like to see where it's going. I'm just always going to be proud to be from Harding, East Sider, Harding Knight all the way, and it's just a great opportunity to be back here today. So.
Back here at Harding high school girls basketball. Alumni Day. And the Harding Knights up 50-18 at halftime. First half numbers: Lala Ray 22 points, Ranson and Gomez with 10. And their defense turning into a whole lot of offense. On the SBA side, Amaya Obi-Walker 7 points, Jayda Brown with 5. Jayda still without a field goal, but we'll see what SPA has up their sleeve as we start the second half. And once again, the Alumni honored. They were given a customary salutation. Always fun to see some of the legends come back as we get ready to start the second half. Ards underneath. That's her second field goal. And Harding, they're not going to back away now. At 5-3, in good position to pick up win number 6. And where they go from here, we'll have to see. But you have to think the prospects are high. As they continue to rack up steals. Again, they average about 25 a game. I think for Harding, as Ranson scores to go up to 12. Brown open. That is what we were looking for out of Jayda Brown. Getting more finesse, more English, a little more touch. So Brown with her first field goal. And SPA, we mentioned the distinguished alumni representing the Harding staff, SPA. That will be a walk. Moser forcing her assignment to backpedal. One of Natalie's assistants, Summer Blakemore. Summer part of the Park Center teams that won state in 2014 and 15. Kyla McMorris, Michaela Hayes, part of those groups. (54-20). illegal screen. So a sluggish start for the Knights. I don't think they're in any danger of losing this game. But when you look at their schedule, again, I think the key for them will be how they fare against teams of that next level. They lost to Fridley in late November. Simley is another team that I think would represent a barometer for them as Amaya Obi-Walker streaks down for the layup. Ray with another runner, this one long. Brown collects the rebound and is bumped from behind. Another foul on Harding. That's just their second, but you wonder if they used up a lot of energy in the first half, and I'm not suggesting they're getting tired or listless, but it could be a situation where their next objective, their next goal on that list, as Brown stepped on the sideline, so that's out of bounds. If their next objective is building up stamina in the sense of mechanics in the second half, when to apply it, how to sustain it. We know they're aggressive. They like to get after it. But we are seeing a little bit of shakiness here to start the second half. Again, they're not in any danger of losing, but this may be one of their challenges, their tasks moving ahead. Because these are two teams, again, who are trying to begin another ascension. Uh-oh. Davy Nelson holding her calf. 15:41 left in the second half. SPA already down a starter from a concussion a while back, and I didn't see what happened, but every game, as you know, must be staffed by a trainer. And as they work on Nelson, I do want to offer my gratitude for Harding and inviting me to take up lunch. Uh-oh. I think someone is taking interest in my scoreboard camera. Someone wants to get on TV. Harding also hasn't played anyone in conference yet. They also had a couple of games that were postponed with Minneapolis South and visitation. Again, I'd like to see how they would fare against Como Park and Assembly. Como Park that is a traveling call. Or not. That was an inbound after a whistle. I guess it doesn't matter. Harding has the ball anyway. But I thought you couldn't straddle the baseline as Gullens scored unless it came after a made field goal, and now Ards is hurt. I think she took an inadvertent knock to the head. Well, this second half proving to be a costly one. Although we did see Nelson get up and walk off, putting a little ice around her calf area. That's Reese Ards. the 7th grader. You've seen her in our triple threat coverage. She, Gullens, Ray, several of the Lady Legends youth players. Tyzacia Holt, the head coach of that group. Well, the trainer's getting a workout here. And Ard's holding her forehead. I think she took a hit to the forehead. It's a physical game, and the 81 and 91 members could tell you the same thing. She's holding her forehead. Okay, she's motioning. It's her ankle that's giving her trouble. Again, she was able to walk off without any assistance, so we hope it's just a tweak. But both teams having to tap into their reserves a little bit. Ard's with only 4 points, but that is one of the starters. SBA ball. Here's Obi-Walker. Amaya off the screen. Has a lane and gets the finish. Obi-Walker scored left. Now she scores right to start the second half. And again, I do think Amaya has a lot of potential. As she gets after it, loose ball, Harding will pick it up. Now, I'm not saying Amaya is going to be the #1 recruit in her class. I'm not smart enough to make that proclamation. But Gomez hooks up with Ranson on the other end to give a Harding bucket to the Knights, 58-24. But Obi-Walker has the makings to create that foundation. That is a double dribble. And I think Abe knew that. Abe has been around this sport long enough to know what those look like. Ranson. How in the world did she pull that off? Ranson was 16. That was a circus shot. Brown doubled. Harding gets into the cookie jar and will gobble up another bucket. It's Gullens this time. Timeout SPA, but this is Harding's day as they lead 62-24 with 14:02 left in the second. If you're watching this on the TSB Television YouTube channel, the next game we will have in chronological order will be Broncos Bulldogs. That game might go up first though, but that's where we're headed. Round 3 in the regular season. Amaya Obi-Walker, 11 points, her season high, 23. And like I said, I think she does have the potential to build a program, whether it's SPA, another school. I don't make those decisions, but we'll find out. But I'm looking all around. Harding, we spoke of their state tournament success in basketball, reaching the finals a couple of times. In the 2000s, they were a monstrous badminton program. Several state championships, 8 in all, from 2000 through 2009, including 4 in a row. And some old compadres of mine were a part of that. Lindsey Bryant, Bree Bassey. Harding with another double in the corner. Another takeaway, and it's always dangerous when you trap yourself in the corner like that, as Ray adds 2 more, 24 points. They have the score as 64-24. Brown recovers. Dead ball rebound to the Knights. Or I should say the Spartans. I'm used to calling so many Harding buckets. Just one of those days. Walker, side fade, the three. Short. It's Gullens. She has numbers, but Brown pokes it from behind to stop a fast break play. This is what we're talking about. Keep scrapping. Baseline jumper goes in and out for Spilseth. Ranson doesn't have the numbers. Obi-Walker looking for the poke. The tip. Spilseth comes up with it, but caught in a tie-up. SPA with the arrow. It's amazing what Harding is doing. I was going to touch on more reminiscing, but Smiley Gomez with the steal and pull-up J. A great day for Harding all around. We'll get to the mercy rule running clock at the 9-minute mark, and we will have free throws for Brown. Probably not the day or the game she and the others had envisioned, but again, Brown, this is her first year on varsity. Obi-Walker in her second year. It's one thing to make that jump. It's another when you're playing for a school that is trying to gather the foundation. Addie Mack, if you recall, played her 7th grade year at Blake before making the move to Minnehaha Academy. And Concordia Academy, they were a program that didn't have much going for them until Avant Tensaye came through. Kyla Ranson knocks down the baseline J. And Harding trying to pick another pocket. This bunch of kleptomaniacs won't get the steal, but they get the turnover. And I hope most of you understand when I say kleptomaniac, I'm being sarcastic. I know that might be hard for some of you to believe. But it's not hard to believe what Ranson is doing. She's got 20. Have a day, Kyla. What a performance. Obi-Walker a little strong. Ranson with 12.8 per game coming into this. You think about where this crop began as Ranson drops in another runner, 72-25. You think about where Harding began when David Iverson came in. Ranson took a hard hit. Harding still has numbers. Brown with the block. Finds Spilseth on the outlet. Obi-Walker, bullseye. 14 for Amaya. Ranson looks to be all right, and so is Reese Ard. She'll check back in at the next whistle. Ray, the step through. Oh, that would have been a beauty had it gone in, but Gullens is there for the O-board. Too strong, third try is there for Ranson. She's got 24. 14 in the second half. 74-28. Well, Harding, 4 wins last year. They'll go to 6. You have to think they will be in contention for a few St. Paul City Conference games. As Ards gets the steal, Gomez recovers. Ray with the steal. Gomez. Yes. A few more of the alumni heading out. Of course, they had their moment in the sun. And again, thankful for Rolanda and Heather for stopping by to share a chat with us. (76-28). As we said in the first half, it's a lot harder to generate a sustained level of accountability, of talent, of pedigree when you don't have the foundation, as Gomez scored on the runner for Harding. That's where the Knights were for all those years. They had a winless season. One of a few, I think, from about 2007-8 up till a couple years ago. And when you take on a coaching assignment like Iverson did, you understand where the expectations are and how you have to taper yourself. Not a case of aiming for the middle and you won't miss. It's understanding we're starting virtually from zero. But now they're here. Gomez to Ray, 26 points. I know it's starting from the bottom, now we're here, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. They started from practically nothing to build on, and the JV players had to play extra games. They would play both JV and varsity every game of the regular season so that their one senior would get the pleasure of finishing out an entire campaign, which is something that Harding hadn't been able to do for so long. They just didn't have the numbers. David and I spoke with each other. Obi-Walker! Oh, that'll get us talking. Amaya. It's a performance that may not stand out when you look at the score, but seeing how Amaya has approached the game, seeing her with the attack, the handles, she has those instincts. Her mom played the sport, so did her dad. Her mom an SBA graduate, her dad played his games right here. Time will tell if Amaya reaches that short list of prospects in the 2030, 2029 class. Yeah, 2030. I'm getting old. Wait, I shouldn't say that. Abe's here. It's like, it only gets better, Mike. You think you're old now, just wait. No three-point play for Obi-Walker, but I do think she has a bright future in this sport. And Jayda, I think once she becomes more at one with her body and mechanics, I could see her becoming a legendary figure as well. How far they go, that's not up to me. I'm not a scout. I'm not going to try to guess, are they D2, D1, D3, mid-major, et cetera, but in a game like this, as Gomez fires from 15, swish, she's got 18. In a game like this, I think there's the understanding. They may not be big names yet, but they all have a chance to do something big. And the girls, they can point to the boys team here at Harding last year. Steven Salaja, as we get a three from Johnson, that's offline. They can point to what the boys were able to do. Up until last season, the boys team, is Reese Yards going to go coast to coast? Not quite. Let me a little too far underneath in that scoop, but until last year, the Harding boys program hadn't won a section game since 2003. And they were able to upset a couple of teams along the way and make it all the way to state. They had to go up against Mankato East that year as the #1 seed and didn't shoot all that well. And I don't care who you play, if the ball doesn't go in the hoop, you can run into trouble. But you think about what the boys are able to do. Bringing an end to a seemingly vast and limitless drought. Obi-Walker, the 3, in and out. There's a chance Harding could do the same thing. I do think they need another year before they're ready to make a serious charge. In sections, that is. You think about all the talent at Cretin-Durham Hall. That will be there for some time. With DeLue and Hamill and Jacobs. Gomez tried to thread it. Back out they go. And getting the friendly bounce, friendly roll either way is Malia Reich. So these young women wearing the maroon and gold have seen the boys do it. They know it is possible to rewrite history. That 3 didn't look fully formed. Brown will give it a go. St. Paul Academy, likewise. They've got, Obi-Walker took a hit. Their section, not as fierce. Minnehaha Academy taking a step back with Sine Hill out for the year with that ACL injury, but they've got some youth as well. They could be in the mix for state tournament appearances, if not championships, for some time. But buying in will be key. They have a new coach. And sometimes it takes a little more work to convince them. We may not be spectacular yet, but stay the course and we can be. Harding is taking that next step, as we're already seeing. 4 wins a year ago. They'll get 6 after this game. You have to think they'll at least get to 10 with some of the opponents in the St. Paul City Conference and their non-conference slate. And that could lead to, if it's 10 wins, for example, maybe the following year it leads to 15. If it's 15, maybe the next year leads to 20. And not only that, it could be 10, 15 wins, who knows. The following year, maybe you win a section game. The year after that, maybe you're in the section final. Hypothetical, but possible. 3 minutes to go. Right, a little strong. Games like this, and I noted this as well with Tartan North St. Paul, a game I called for SCC. These are where you'll find some of the hidden prospects. The players who, for whatever reason, haven't found themselves on the list of recruits on Junior All-Star Prep Girls Hoops. But that doesn't mean there isn't a place for them in this sport. There always is a spot, no matter what. This is Zariah Ranson, I want to say, the sophomore forward. Getting some playing time to wrap this one up. One thing is for certain, Harding, with this victory, has reached the 80-point threshold for the first time. 85 to be precise. Brown blocked by MJ Libet-Jones. Ranson, well, that 3 was on the mark. She's calling for it. She gets it up down low. It's lights out, I think. Nadia Badowich also in there, number 11. And London Buchanan, another 7th grader. Obi-Walker buries the deep three. 19 points for Amaya Obi-Walker. And why have I praised her repeatedly, even though SPA didn't have the best performance today? You never know who's watching. Coaches, scouts, teammates, they're always looking to see how you play, no matter what the score reads. So Obi-Walker will have 19 points. Not a bad performance for her. But the day will belong to Harding. Lala Ray will finish with 26. Gomez, 18. Ranson, 24. A whole lot to like about this group. And they've got a consortium who've been there. They know what it takes. And they hope to pass their success on to the next generation. That's it, that's all. 85-33 the final. A runaway win for the Harding Knights. They took off and didn't look back on Alumni Day here in the east side of St. Paul. We'll try to get a word with a player or two before we call it a day. This is high school girls basketball. Harding goes to 6-3 with an 85-33 win.
When the high school season is over, TSP Television goes on the highlight trail. Our highlight reels provide you with a valuable resource for recruiters and a keepsake of your favorite athlete. To learn more about our highlight reel services, contact us at tsptelevision@gmail.com.
Joining us are Lala Ray and Kyla Ranson. Lala, 26 points, 22 in the first half, and you were the beneficiary, so was Kyla, of a lot of steals that turned into runouts. How have you emphasized defense to generate offense at your best rate of the season today?
I don't know.
It just comes to you?
Yeah.
What can that do, though, to spark a run and spark confidence in your team when you're leading the fast break and that form of yours, too? You were dropping runners. There was a lot about your game that I was impressed with. But what can that do for a Harding group that's looking to build their way up?
I feel like that if a seventh grader can do it, they'll be wanting to do it. They'll want to do what a seventh grader can do.
Well, I'll give you some context because I'm good friends with one of your coaches over there, and Coach Holt, that is. She wasn't doing this kind of stuff. Yes, she wasn't doing this kind of stuff in 7th grade, so you've already got to jump on her by a couple of years.
Yeah, that's my mom. That's my mom.
So how does it feel that you're getting a head start compared to where your mom was?
Well, I feel like she's teaching me all the stuff that she was doing in college, and so I feel good about having her as my mom.
Now, did she warn you about not running into water coolers like she did one time?
No, but I don't think I would run into one.
Well, ask her about the story if you haven't heard already. It was quite the splash, if you know what I mean. But speaking of splash, what does it mean to get a big win like this today, your 6th win of the year? And you weren't here on this team a year ago, but now you are part of this group taking that next step.
Well, I feel great because we beat our record. Our record last year, we only won 4 games, and so I feel really good that we could beat our record.
And Kyla, what about you? Because you're one of the veterans now, the eighth grader who took over in the second half. What would you make of the team's defensive intensity?
It impacted us a lot, and it helped us.
What would you say is different? How have you grown from last year to this year? Because as Lala noted, just 4 wins a year ago, but I think all of you understood this isn't about the outcomes yet, it's about the process. But how do you think the experience from a year ago is playing out now?
We learned from our losses, and we just grew from it.
And then with this game, you got the early jump and had a couple of big runs. How does that set the tone and establish a pace for a group like Harding?
It gets the team going all together, and yeah.
And as Lala noted, you already surpassed last year's win total. So what other goals do you have for this year, and how does a win like this help you get there?
Just keep winning and keep working hard in practice.
And what have you enjoyed so far wearing the maroon and gold here at Harding, where, again, maybe aren't going to be competing for state every year yet, but you are turning a team that didn't have a whole lot of anything to a team that's forming a foundation and putting together a lot of young talent.
It feels great, and we just have to keep going.
On that front, too, how do you account for experience? Because you have 2 7th graders, 2 8th graders in the starting lineup, so not a lot of precedent to go on, but I'm guessing a lot of learning. So how has that all come together with so many youngsters on this team?
We just work together as a team, and we just come up with it.
Together indeed. Before we go, a couple of things I wanted to ask you. Are there any fun facts about yourself? Something interesting? Could be a hobby, could be a talent, favorite thing. What is something that we wouldn't know about you if we didn't meet you before?
I can sing.
I was going to say that.
What about you?
I can sing too.
So we've got a couple of singers. You two maybe should consider leading the Star Spangled Banner one of these games.
No, never.
Maybe. We'll have to see.
Hey, you're taking Harding to new heights on the basketball court. Why can't you do that on the mic before the game, right?
Yep.
Don't know.
All right. Well, Mom, you might want to help encourage Lala to do something like that if these two have some singing talents. And before we go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
I'm
Hey,
gonna.
everyone.
Yeah. Hey everyone.
Yep.
Hi, Don Staley. Overtime. Hi.
Can I get your autograph?
All right. Well, we'll make sure this gets sent to Dawn Staley in overtime, and maybe we'll get you an autograph before the season's out. But thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win, and enjoy this big win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That will wrap up our coverage from Harding High School in St. Paul. For the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Beaton. Thank you for watching.